Hello. In this video, we're going to create a special GitHub repository that's going to give us a live website. So we're going to use this to develop a project, and that project is going to be live to the world using this special URL that you get with your GitHub user account. Okay, to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new repository. So you could, if you're on this screen, you click New Repository. If you come up here, you can do a drop down, you can say New Repository. And we're going to create a new repository, but we're going to give it a very specific name. The name has to be your username. And notice that I haven't put any upper or lowercase letters, even though I'm capital P miscue. .github.io. And what this is this is a special type of repository that if you create, GitHub knows that you are going to create a website in this repository. So you're going to put some HTML files in there, and anyone in the world now that goes to pmiscue.github.io on their browser is going to actually access that site. So this is going to be where I'm going to put my UN Sustainability project, because that's what we're going to actually develop in this. So I'm going to make it public. I'm going to initialize this with a README, and I'm going to create that repository. So now I have this repository and I want to do the work on my computer. So I'm going to clone or download this. I'm going to get the URL to clone, which I've just basically copied this. Now I'm going to go into my own work. So I'm going to come in here. I believe I keep all my repos in this section. So what I want to do is I want to actually create a folder that mirrors this repository inside my Git repo URDI. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to say new terminal folder here. And I'm going to say git clone, and then I'm going to paste that long link. And then you might have noticed in the background that there's that repository. So now I have access to this repository, and anything that I add in here is going to be mirrored inside this repository up here. So let's actually put something up here really quickly to show you what this actually lets us do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and open up a Sublime text. So I'm just going to pause for a second here. So I've opened up a Sublime text here in the background, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pmiscue.github.io repository and I'm going to drag it in. And there it is. So I'm going to make a new file in here, and I'm going to make an HTML file, which is essentially the file that controls the content of a web page. And I'm going to call this something very special. I'm going to call it index.html. And you'll see this a lot, this file name, come up all the time when you're developing for a website, because it is a special file that by default, when you go to a website, it's going to look for. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to go into this, when I go to my website, so if I come up here and open a browser and I say GitHub, so I'm going to go to pmiscue.github.io and I hit enter. There's my notice, that's live. That's my GitHub repository site. And the only reason that's here is because I've created this special GitHub repository. And it's just a placeholder because I have no files in here. But if I create an index.html, and this is a HTML file, I'm going to open a brace, put an H and hit tab, and that's going to give me, this is my template for any HTML file. And I'm going to make my title, oh, I have a little bit of a, there it goes. I don't know, let's call this UN project. And then I'm going to put in the body, I'm going to put it in a P tag. I don't know, this is my site. Okay, so let's save this. And now I'm going to push this into my repository. So actually, let's just minimize that. Let's open up this. Let's open up a new terminal app folder. And I push this the same way I would for those of you that worked with me in the Python project. I'm going to do git add dot, git commit -m, my first push. And then I'm going to say git push. And what I've done is I've pushed that index.html into my GitHub repository. So when I refresh, I should see index.html. And there it is. So here's a really cool thing. So now what happens is, because there's an index.html, again, index.html is just a commonly accepted file name. And by default, if I try to go to a URL, by default, it's going to look for an index.html to know what to display to the website. Now this sometimes takes a minute or two, but if I go again to pmiscu.github.io, and there we go, this is my site. That's now live for everyone. So what this is this is a special repository where you're going to be storing a website. And associated with this repository is this special URL. And just to show you one last time, let's make one minor change just to kind of get a feel for this, because we'll be doing a lot of this. If I pull this back up again, and let's do an H1. I am going to learn HTML/H1. I'm going to save this. Let's clear that up. So let's go git add dot, git commit -m, second push. Let's drag this a little larger. Can't seem to get it to, oh well. Second push, git space push. And so now I've updated that index.html page. So if I come back here and I refresh, you'll notice that it might take a couple minutes to refresh. I'm going to pause the video here. It took about 20 seconds, but there it is. So now you have a live website that you can develop and build. What's really important with this is that you recognize that this is live. Anyone in the world can access this. So as we develop, we really want to keep this a site really contained, nothing personal about ourselves, and really just as a place to kind of learn some basic ideas. I hope this video helped. Have a great day.